They will tell you that your future is something you plan, that it fits into spreadsheets and clean calendars, that it arrives when you have the right 5-year strategy or enough bullet points under your LinkedIn profile. But the truth, the brutal, magnificent truth, is that your destiny doesn't arrive by appointment. It erupts. It breaks open through moments you never expected, like an earthquake beneath a quiet city. It's in the way your hands tremble after betrayal, in the way your breath catches when someone tells you you're not enough, in the hollow ache when life rips something from you that you thought was permanent. That is where your architecture begins, not with clarity, but with chaos. Because chaos is the invitation, the void you are dared to build within. No cathedral ever rose from a blueprint alone. It rose from rubble. And so will you. If you want to be the architect of your destiny, you must first become a master of collapse. You must be willing to let the old versions of yourself burn, the obedient version, the watered-down version, the one that bowed to comfort and called it wisdom. You were not built to be safe. Your soul was not shaped in the womb to pay bills and die politely. There is something inside you that remembers fire, something ancient, something that refuses to kneel. You think the Roman Empire was built by people who waited for clarity? No, it was built by people who moved before the map was drawn, who carved the path as they walked it, who bled into their foundations because they believed the cost was worth the crown. You are no different. Your destiny isn't asking for permission, it's asking for blood. Not literal blood, but sacrifice. The death of your small habits, the murder of mediocrity, the execution of every weak excuse you've ever whispered to yourself in the dark. You think this is about motivation? Number. This is war, and the battlefield is inside your chest. Every morning the war drums beat. Will you answer them? Not with a to-do list, not with another podcast, but with sovereignty, with presence, with the still unshakable force of someone who has remembered that their life is not a rehearsal, that this is it, that the pages are being written now, whether you pick up the pen or not. And let's speak truth. Most people don't want to be architects. They want to be tourists. They want to walk through a well-built life and admire the view without having to touch the tools, without having to break the sweat. But admiration is not ownership. You either build it or you kneel before what others built. That is the only choice. And if you choose to build, truly build, you must learn to work with more than just ambition. You must work with your shadows, with the broken parts, with the rage, with the ache. You don't need to fix yourself before you begin. You need to use every fractured piece as part of your design. Let your scars be stained glass. Let your anger be fuel. Let your loneliness become the silence where your greatest ideas are born. Because real architects don't just create beauty. They create structure that survives storms. And storms will come. You will be misunderstood, mocked, left behind. There will be days when the world seems to applaud everyone except you, when your voice echoes in an empty room, when your progress feels like a lie. And that is exactly when you decide what kind of structure you're building. If you only build for praise, your architecture will crumble in silence. But if you build for truth, nothing can touch you. You are the architect of your destiny, not because you control everything, but because you take responsibility for what you create with what you've been given. Whether life hands you gold or gravel, you build. So when people ask, "What's your plan?" don't show them a graph. Show them your grit. Show them your refusal to disappear. Show them the ruins you've risen from, the foundations you laid in darkness, and the fact that you kept laying brick after brick, even when no one believed in the vision but you. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You owe yourself a cathedral. They will try to distract you with comfort, with noise, with counterfeit pleasures that feel like progress, but rot you from the inside out. They will sell you lives shrink-wrapped in convenience, lives that ask nothing of you except that you stay numb. Scroll, swipe, settle. That's the rhythm of the lost, but not you. You are not here to consume life. You are here to forge it. That means boredom is not your enemy. It is your crucible. It is the silence between hammer strikes where vision begins to speak. The world is terrified of boredom, because in boredom, your soul starts to whisper truths you've tried to bury. But architects know. Stillness is sacred. Boredom is the room where blueprints emerge. The foundation of destiny is not noise, it is attention. And so I ask you now, how present are you? Not in your calendar, not in your email, but in your being? When you walk into a room, do you fill it with presence? Or do you flicker like a shadow, afraid to be seen? Your destiny demands that you occupy your existence, not float through it. And here's something most won't tell you. You don't need more information. You need more self-confrontation. Look in the mirror, not just to adjust your appearance, but to stare into the soul of the one who builds or doesn't. Ask yourself questions no one else dares to ask. What am I running from? What truth have I silenced because it would dismantle the version of me others expect? What would I build if I wasn't trying to impress or please anyone? Because the moment you stop performing and start creating from truth, everything changes. You become dangerous, not in a violent way, but in a disruptive one. You become a force that bends the world instead of being bent by it. And that's when resistance shows up. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're finally doing something real. Do you think Da Vinci painted in peace? Do you think Joan of Arc stood on a quiet street corner waiting for applause? Do you think Mandela was praised for vision before the prison cell? Of course not, because every builder of destiny becomes a threat to those who refuse to evolve. And that is why your work is sacred, because it is defiance against the machine. It is rebellion against decay. It is your soul declaring, I will not go quietly. You are not here to repeat the patterns of the past. You are here to disrupt them, to take the stones of trauma, of failure, of rejection, and build with them. Not despite them, but through them. The bricks of your life aren't just successes. They are also the bones of everything you survived. You are not late. You are not lost. You are standing at the edge of your own becoming, and it will not come gently. Because greatness doesn't send invitations, it waits for the ones who crash through the doors. So let me tell you something ancient. Before there were clocks, before there were schools, systems, rules, there were builders. People who looked at the raw material of the world, the stone, the fire, the chaos, and said, I will shape this. I will give form to the formless. I will leave behind something that didn't exist before me. That is who you are, not a follower of blueprints, a creator of them. And while others decorate the halls of comfort, you build towers from your pain. While others pray for easy, you bless the difficulty, because you understand that every blow to your ego is a blow to the rock you're carving. You know the truth. The universe does not reward potential. It rewards construction. And you are not potential. You are a force of design. You are the one who builds while others sleep, the one who hears the call when others pretend they're deaf. You are the one who gets up again, not because it's easy, but because your destiny demands it. You are the architect, and this is your blueprint. Let's talk about chaos, not the chaos you run from, but the chaos you're meant to master. Most people think destiny is built in clarity, that once the fog lifts, the path will be obvious, that once it all makes sense, they'll finally move. But let me tell you what no one wants to admit. Clarity is a reward. It comes after the leap, not before it. The blueprint doesn't show up in the mail. It reveals itself brick by brick, heartbeat by heartbeat, as you walk through the fire of uncertainty. Chaos is the raw material of greatness. Every empire began in confusion. Every legend began in darkness. Order is not where you start. It's what you impose on the storm. Michelangelo once said, I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free. He didn't wait for the statue to reveal itself. He struck the stone again and again with no guarantee of what he would find. That's what builders do. They impose design onto disorder. They shape meaning out of madness. You think the storm is a setback? Number the storm is your studio. Because in chaos, the weak scatter. In chaos, the false identities fall apart. And in chaos, the real you, the dangerous, precise, unstoppable you, begins to emerge. But it doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you pick up the chisel and start carving. And this is where we separate the architects from the imitators. Imitators wait for permission. Architects give themselves the authority. Imitators want a map. Architects become the compass. So let me ask you, whose permission are you still waiting for? A teacher who doubted you? A parent who never saw you? A system that wasn't built for you? Burn the waiting room. No one is coming to crown you. You build the throne, and then you become it. And as you build, there will come a moment, a sacred, dangerous moment. The moment when you outgrow the world around you. You'll look around and realize you don't fit anymore. Your old habits, your old crew, your old narrative, they feel too small. Like shoes you've outworn, like a language you no longer speak. This is not a crisis, it is a resurrection. You are not meant to stay who you were. That was scaffolding. Temporary. Necessary, yes. But now it's time to tear it down. Because builders do not cling to comfort. Builders evolve. Builders rise. And yes, evolution is violent. The snake sheds its skin not with grace, but with friction. The butterfly doesn't grow wings. It dissolves, melts into chaos inside the cocoon, and is rebuilt. That is what you're doing. And it's supposed to hurt. You're not falling apart. You're shedding. You're breaking free from inherited expectations, from the architecture of mediocrity passed down through silence, tradition, and fear. You're stepping into a design of your own, built not from compromise, but from conviction. You will walk alone often. That's part of the contract. But you won't walk lost, because deep inside you know, this is what you were made for. And now we enter the most sacred chamber of all, legacy. Because architects don't just build for themselves, they build for time. They create structures that outlive flesh and bone. They craft blueprints that future generations walk through without ever knowing the name of the hands that built them. And that's the point. Your life is not just about success, it's about impact. You will not be measured by what you owned, but by what you originated. The structures of spirit, of strength, of wisdom that will echo long after your voice goes quiet. The cathedral took 140 years to build. The architect never saw the roof, but he built anyway, because he understood, this is bigger than me. What will you build that time can't erase? And don't misunderstand this. Legacy isn't about being remembered. It's about remembering who you were meant to be and becoming it so fiercely that your very existence cracks the timeline. When you wake up in the morning, don't ask, what do I need to do today? Ask, what can I design that didn't exist yesterday? A thought, a rhythm, a system, a movement, a model of how to live with fire in your chest and purpose in your bones. Because here's the final truth. You are the architect, but you're also the building. You are the dreamer, but you're also the structure the dream must live inside. So rise, build yourself like the monument you are. Shape your mind like marble, your actions like steel, your words like blueprints for those who will come after. And remember this, there is no destiny waiting for you. There's only the one you build, with blood, with beauty, with brutal clarity. The world is not waiting to hand you your purpose. The world is waiting to see if you'll claim the hammer. So pick it up and start building. And as your hands wrap around that hammer, feel it. The weight of it is not just steel and wood. It's responsibility, it's truth. It's the voice inside you that has been whispering for years. You were made for more. Not more noise, not more distraction, but more intention, more impact, more life actually lived. This is where most people stop, at the threshold of creation, where the hammer feels too heavy, where the blank slate feels too terrifying, where the silence of possibility starts to sound like failure. But not you. You're still holding the hammer. You're still here. And that means one thing. You're ready. Ready to carve vision from chaos. Ready to leave behind the crutches of someday and walk into right now. Ready to create not a life of convenience, but a life of consequence. Because deep down, you know this. A purpose isn't something you stumble across. It's something you forge, in the heat, in the pressure, in the refusal to quit, when nothing makes sense but your conviction. So building, even when no one sees, even when no one claps, even when your hands bleed and your plans fall apart, and the voices tell you you're not enough. Build anyway, because the blueprint was never out there. It was never waiting in the next book or course or mentor. It was always in your breath, in your bones, in the silent architecture of your being, begging to be drawn. And the moment you pick up that hammer, you declare to the universe, I'm done waiting. I'm done hoping. I'm done asking for permission. You build the vision. You shape the meaning. You construct the legacy. One thought, one brick, one relentless day at a time. And when the world looks back, when it walks through the halls of your creation, it won't say, look what they had. It will say, look what they built. Because you, the one who chose not to wait, you became the architect of your destiny, and you never put the hammer down.